Hello, class. Welcome to Lesson 11 of our Historical Fiction Writing Unit. Today I am going to review some editing tips for you to use while you are editing on your own or while you edit with a teacher, such as myself. Let's get to tip number one, shall we? Tip number one says, do any words look funny? Now, I do not mean funny as in ha ha. I mean funny as in strange. As you are reading your own writing, you may recognize that some words look very strange. That is because you have already read this word, come across this word in other literature, and now you have written it down, but it just doesn't register. It doesn't match what your brain feels is correct. Usually, those emotions that you get in your body when you feel that you have written a word incorrectly, usually you can count on those feelings. Now, let's go to tip number one and look at the example. Did you know a basketball team won 9 championships in one decade? The team that accomplished that feat was the Boston Celtics. They are the most successful professional basketball team. The Boston Celtics have an impressive history of great players and great success. Now, the first word I want to direct you towards is championships. Now, this word looks funny, not just because championships is somewhat of a funny word, ha ha. Championships is also a strange looking word if spelled incorrectly. This looks more like championships, and we also have an incorrect vowel in there. Another word that looks funny, not funny ha ha, but funny strange, is the word accomplished. The word accomplished here is all out of whack. There are different vowels in here, different consonants in here that should not be there, as well as the ending suffix of ed has been replaced with a t. This is definitely a word that looks funny and needs to be spelled correctly. I must point another example, however. Look at this word called Celtics. Yes, look at this word called Celtics. This looks funny, um, but guess what? It's still spelled correctly. I just wanted to point this word out to you because sometimes when you write down a word that you do not commonly write down, sometimes the words may look funny, but actually indeed be spelled correctly. That's right. Let's go to the next word, shall we? The next word that looks funny, not funny ha ha, but funny strange, is the word successful. This is all a bunch of a mess here. The words are definitely incorrect. There are consonants missing, incorrect usage of vowels. This word needs to be looked up and spelled correctly. Last but not least, I wanted to provide an example with you of the word impressive. The reason why I have this example is you can see that I allowed the Google document to include a red line. Yes, you see the red squiggly line under the word impressive. That is going to happen each and every time you spell a word incorrectly. Usually. However, there are some instances where you may put a word down that is spelled correctly, but it has a different meaning, so you do need to be careful. However, in this case, the word impressive has the red squiggly line indicating to you that it is indeed spelled incorrectly. Each time, almost every time anyway, that you spell a word incorrectly, Google Documents will automatically provide you with that red squiggly line. Why do we not have red squiggly lines under the word championships and accomplishment and successful? Well, that's because I took them away on purpose. Tip number two, are your sentences capitalized? Let's look at the example, shall we? Did you know an NBA team won 9 championships in one decade? The team that accomplished that feat was the Boston Celtics. They are the most successful professional basketball team. They have won the most titles than any other basketball team. Tip number two, are your sentences capitalized? As you can see, hardly any of the sentences are capitalized in this example. The first sentence right away is not capitalized. Did, yes, did should be capitalized. Then we have the next sentence starting with the, also not capitalized. The next sentence starts with they, that is capitalized. However, again, I wanted to provide an example of what Google Documents will do if you do not capitalize your sentences. In this instance, you can see that they have provided you with a blue squiggly line under the word they in this instance because, yes, it should be capitalized because it is a sentence. and it is the first word at the beginning of the sentence, and you must capitalize it. I must say this is one of the things that drives teachers the most batty because they get very discouraged that this is a very simple task. Just make sure when you start a sentence, please capitalize. Moving on to tip number 3, are your proper nouns capitalized? Some of these players include Bill Russell, Larry Bird, and Paul Pierce. Bill Russell helped the Celtics win 11 championships, including 9 in the 1960s. Larry Bird helped the Celtics win 3 championships in the 1980s. Paul Pierce helped the Celtics win their last championship, which was in 2008. Way too long ago, if you ask me. Anyway, let's look at some of these examples. Proper nouns. What do we mean by proper nouns? First of all, proper nouns are things such as the name of people, the name of stores, the name of basketball teams, the name of months, the name of days. There are many things out there that are proper nouns. If you have some extra time on your hands, I suggest very highly that you look up all the possibilities of proper nouns. In this section, however, let's look at some proper nouns that are not capitalized, shall we? Here we have Bill Russell, Larry Bird, and Paul Pierce. All names, all not capitalized. That is our first mistake. They should be capitalized. The next example we have here are the Celtics. The Celtics are an official NBA basketball team, so it needs to be capitalized. And last but not least, I again wanted to provide you with an example of what Google Documents will do if you do not capitalize a proper noun. In this instance, you have also been provided with a blue squiggly line that indicates to you that Paul Pierce is a proper noun and indeed should be capitalized. All right, moving on to our last tip of the day. Tip number 4, do your sentences end with proper end marks. Paul Pierce helped the Celtics win their last championship, which was in 2008. The Boston Celtics have a lot of championship banners hanging from the TD Garden rafters, and they hope to add to their collection. Do your sentences end with proper end marks? Well, in some cases, like the first instance that I've provided for you here, you sometimes do not put any end marks. This is something else that drives teachers up the wall when you do not put an end mark at the end of your sentence. Please do so. And then please pay attention to tip number 4. It says, do your sentences end with proper end marks? In some instances, you may have put an end mark there, but it may be the incorrect one. For example, the last sentence here has a question mark at the end of this sentence, but it is not an interrogative sentence, it is a statement. So they hope to add to their collection should be with a period. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was my historical fiction unit lesson on editing tips. I hope you found it useful. I hope you did not find my accent too obnoxious to you, so you were able to watch this video in its entirety. Thank you very much for joining me today. Make a great day, everyone.